Good morning, beautiful souls. Welcome back or welcome to the Hawk. And my name is Lana Zelinsky, and I work in the spirit dimensions. As always, and on my videos and my live feeds, simply take what resonates, and you're welcome to leave the rest right here. Happy Wednesday. Man, May is moving along. You know, time for me is an interesting thing because I don't always feel time because there's no time over there in the spirit dimensions. So when I was looking at the calendar this morning, I was like, how is it? How is it May 22nd? Yeah, here we are. The weather here has been glorious. I've been enjoying my days. Yesterday, I spent 7 hours on a baseball diamond doing some cheering work, some cheering for some teens, and it was absolutely delicious to be able to do that. Tomorrow we have a full moon. For those of you who like full moon energy and full moon releases, get yourself ready. It's a glorious time to do some letting go and some wrapping up and some completion work. And if you're not into full moon energy, that's okay too. It's always what resonates with you. It's always what really gets those spiritual juices kind of moving along. Um, the channeling that I did this morning had a very interesting energy to it. It is something that we all are aware, a little bit difficult to practice. And what Spirit talked to me about today is the things that we cannot control, things that are out of our own personal power, and being able to go with the flow with that. And I didn't feel the energy as turbulence. I just felt it as the go with the flow, that the whole resistant piece for the remainder of the week and into the weekend is spiking into my awareness with spirit. And it's going to be an important several days to just kind of be able to, it is what it is, to be able to surrender into, I can't control that, so why am I getting caught up in that? Or it's not mine to try and push that around. And sometimes we do get a little too pushy with ourselves, or with other people, or in situations with not having control with things and wanting it. We do, as humans, want control over things, and being able to slow down that momentum and be able to slow down and let go of what's not in our control, and look at where the lessons are. And what Spirit also whispered to me was, the small steps forward matter too. And when things are not in our control, and when things there's nothing that we can really do with what's going on around us, taking that pause back, taking that look back, is what am I here to learn from that? And kind of going with that, going with the flow. And I kind of felt kind of floaty in my meditation this morning. I felt like I was floating on a raft, and just kind of allowing that whole allowing energy to kind of take me where I needed to go. And Spirit was kind of talking to me about trust and being able to allow that feeling. So when you come up against things for the next couple of days or into the weekend, I want you to just kind of lean into, do I just go with the flow here on this? Is it something that's out of my control? And how much energy do I want to invest in something that's not in my control anyway? And when I heard that sentence, I was like, oh, yeah, I think I get that. I get that, because sometimes we put so much energy into something that we really have no control over anyway. And excuse me, sorry. With that, using our energy into something that the outcome is going to be what it needs to be. We do invest too much too often into the things that we just need to navigate through. Set your sails is what Spirit said, as I seen myself floating on a little raft. Set your sails, set your spiritual sails, and just kind of allow that movement, just kind of allow that go with the flow. You're going to land where you need to land through it all. And there are things that we can control. There are things, even when things are not in our control, we can still control our reaction to it. We can still control how much energy we're going to invest into that. We can still control a lot of the things that we can't control. And to be able to, I know that sounds kind of, two-sided, but it's true. If I can't change the outcome of it, I'm going to set my sail, because I can control on how much energy I'm willing to invest in something, and how much time I'm willing to invest it, and also how much resistance I'm going to invest into that. And I always look for the lessons. That's one of the biggest things, is where's my lesson? Where's the lesson? Where's my learning? And I kind of navigate it through the the hard parts, the bumpy roads, the things that are out of my control. I kind of navigate it through it for that from that perspective. I don't feel it turbulent though. So when things are turbulent, with spirit, I will literally have to hold on during meditation with the energy. I don't feel turbulence. I feel it more of a reminder. I just feel like spirit was peeking their head in this morning to say, watch what you can't control, and watch what you're investing your time in, watch what you're investing your energy into. Just remember that I said it, because it's going to have, I think, an aha moment for quite a few of us as we navigate from today into the weekend. So yeah, it's short and sweet this morning. I am going to grab a couple questions before I move on. I am working on Zoom this morning, so I'm very, very grateful for that. I can hang out a little bit longer versus compared to when I have to drive into my office. Okay, you can tell I was cheering again. You can tell I was cheering. My voice is a little bit frogged from all the hollering I did, almost 7 hours worth of cheering yesterday. Good morning, Lana. I recently got a piece of amber and felt intuitively to put it right to my heart space. I felt so much emotions were coming out, insight from spirit as to the energy of that. It's a release. Amber is a very amazing healing crystal. When we connect to any crystal, and it really doesn't matter if you feel that connection, that energy is coming to help you, to navigate. And I also feel what I'm hearing in that is you were ready. You're ready with that emotional piece. You're ready with that acceptance piece. And I also feel so much acceptance wrapping around you. So that acceptance energy, that proud energy, I feel like as you do that releasing and as you go into that heart space, and I also feel like you're getting into your heart space a lot quicker and spending more time there. And I feel like it's almost like a natural place to go, and it's a glorious spiritual practice. Whenever I'm struggling with anything, I make sure I'm dealing with it from my heart space. I come right in, hand on my heart, or you can put a crystal on your heart. Any big decisions, I go to my heart space, or my gut. I go to that to help me tap in to the energy there. I feel it as a huge. I feel it like a release, and I feel it as things that we need to feel with those emotions. Sometimes we do struggle to feel our emotions. I mean, put your hand up if you struggle with your emotions. We're good with the good feelings, and when it comes to the tougher feelings, or the feelings that are a little bit difficult to navigate through, we kind of like, I don't want to feel that. I don't want to feel that. And those emotions and that energy does get kind of held into parts of our body. And when we kind of allow ourselves to have those moments of feeling those emotions, it's a glorious space. Mandy, good morning. Lana, I'm having a meeting Friday with my work. I'm being stuck there. I would love to know what spirit feels. I'm clouded as my new boss is negative. I love what I do, but it is time. So, people on our journey that we meet, even though they may be difficult or negative, I always really feel, Mandy, that they bring us something to learn, and they're bringing us into a new doorway. And if you're feeling that it's time for you to move forward from that job, that person may be the final push for you. I feel like this has been on your mind for a little while. I feel like even like before this new boss came in, I feel like you had that inner knowing of, I think it's time for me to move on soon. I feel like you had a feeling that this was coming. Whether it be in your subconscious or totally in your awareness. And I feel like this is one more push. I feel like it's that one more, and it's and people come on our journey for reasons, and sometimes it's to give us that momentum, giving us that push. And when you think about other things in your life, certain things wouldn't have happened if certain pushes weren't given to you. And I've learned that in many, 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 many different ways. um I needed that helpful push. I feel I do feel that the time shift and the momentum, I feel like once you let go here and once you kind of surrender to this, I feel like things go very rapidly in your spiritual work. I feel like there's a big change coming in there as well. And I just feel like it's almost like you need to be shown that it's time to move forward. Tabitha, my friend's brother is selling his RAV4, 7 years old and 128,000 kilometers. I have an 11-year-old minivan with 62. thousand kilometers. Should I consider the RAV4 or wait for something newer with less miles? This RAV4 does not feel bad for me. To me, 7 years old at 128,000 kilometers. When you look at it logically as well, that's not bad. That's not bad. Um, I don't feel terrible with either vehicle though. I leaned into your minivan, and I don't feel terrible with the minivan energy either, but I do feel with this RAV4, there's something more solid with it. And as always, have it checked out by a mechanic. Make sure that you have all the information. I feel like I need to encourage you that way, but I don't feel like either vehicle, I don't feel like you have to get a newer vehicle, if that makes sense. I don't feel that at all. I feel like either way, you've got a good ride. And that's perfect. So it comes down to Tabitha, does the RAV4 serve your needs better or differently? And that was one question mark that I got pushed to, is does the RAV4 suit your needs better? And I had a minivan several years ago, and yeah, it was one of the easiest vehicles that I had. There was always so much space and an abundance of room in that. But a RAV4 has a lot of room as well. Um, Now I have a truck. And I'll tell you, I don't know how I ever had a smaller vehicle in the past, because the back of my truck is always being used with big stuff. Dee Dee, as I get older, time goes by so much faster. Does time exist in the spiritual dimensions? No. No, well, no, not with where our deceased loved ones are. There's no time there. Time is very much on this in this physical world. It's very much and it's important. Time is important, for us here in the physical world, but it's not over there, which is why when I channel, I'll ask spirit to show me certain things for the validation as to who our loved ones are. And our soul doesn't necessarily know time either. Even in past lives, it can be very difficult to come up with the timeline, because the soul doesn't necessarily connect to that, which is why we get the visuals, why in a regression we'll get certain clothing, or something energetically, or a feeling of what timeline we are in. It's very much physical world. In other physical dimensions, and do I believe there are other physical dimensions? Absolutely. Is time relevant to them? I don't know. I can only share with what spirit has shown me from the spirit dimensions. There is no time there. It's very much physical world. Kayla, hi beauty. Does spirit have any messages for me? Thank you as always. I hope the summer weather is treating you well. I love the warmer weather. I love all the seasons, but it is nice to have that summer weather. Kayla, does spirit have any messages for me? Kayla, I'm not sure if this has come up for you before, or recently. I feel like it has, but I really feel like I have to come back to a conversation of really celebrating you. I feel like I need to party. I feel like I need, like, celebrating accomplishments, celebrating those small steps, celebrating the big steps. I feel like I'm in the space of really honoring myself, and honoring myself in many different ways, whether that be with self-care, whether that be something as simple as drinking more water in a day. I feel like I just have to really, there's no bottom pit on that on love, right? There's no, oh, I love myself enough. I feel like I'm just growing into this love of who I am, and this love of what I give out. That's what I feel around you. And I feel, and again, I never go back and watch the lives, and I don't retain all the information from the lives, but I feel like I may have talked to you about this fairly recently. But I feel like I've just got to really love that space right now, really cheering for yourself, really turning up the self care, because there's so much growth in all of that too, right? Um, the goddess of happiness. Oh, I love that. Hi, dear. A weird question. There's never ever a weird question. I just want you to know that, all of you. Sometimes I feel like I don't belong to heaven. Like I'm a person who deserves punishment. How can I figure it out whether it's true or not? So that is not a weird question. One thing that I want to tap in here is we all come from source energy, and whatever word you want to use as source energy, whether it be heaven, spirit dimensions, source energy, we all come from there. Every single one of us, and every single one of us is profoundly loved. I feel like when I tap into that, I feel like you've got a little bit of memory from a past life. I really feel like in a past life, and that I can't connect it to this lifetime. So when I can't connect it to this lifetime, I when I push into a past lifetime, I feel like in a past lifetime you were punished a lot, and I don't feel like that punishment was deserved. So I just feel, because I feel restricted, I feel restrained, I feel like, what's the word that I'm looking for? I feel like you weren't allowed to do certain things, and I feel like it's past life punishment is what it feels like. I cannot tie it to this lifetime at all. So I with that, I think what you can do, goddess of happiness, is I think you need to remind yourself a little bit more that how worthy you are, and how loved you are, and that you do belong to, to source energy, and that you do come from source energy. I just have to rewire that a little bit. So why don't you? I can hear you question. Why don't I remember the past lives? Some people do, and but most people don't. But our soul doesn't forget, so we do receive that information a little bit. We do receive, and sometimes it can be in an irrational fear. Sometimes it can connect to a certain culture or music. And I've talked about this before. Before I did any work with past life regression, as soon as I heard any kind of Celtic, Irish, Scottish music, I get really emotional. And it was during a regression many years later that I finally got the understanding as to why. So I've had a past lifetime, many past lifetimes that connect to that culture and to that part of the world. So the soul does remember. We get a new brain every time we come. So that's why there's that lack of understanding. Just work on the thoughts, just work on rewiring that, work on what feels true to you, right? Work on that what feels true to you. Can spirit clarify what soul connection I've been in the past month? Can spirit clarify what soul connection I've been in the last month? I feel like there's been a lot of growth connection. I feel like there's been a lot of learning, and I feel like I'm connecting to a lot of my self-worthiness. Has there been some energy going on there that's been teaching you the last month about your own worthiness? I need to know that question. I need to know the answer of that question, because I feel like it's a huge learning curve right now for you. Horizon Phoenix, any spirit suggestions for stretching protection and white light to cover our flights coming up and everyone on board? Beautiful question. So what you can do is, and if you're not visual, that's okay. You don't have to be visual to do this. You can simply hold an item to represent the plane. So if you're visual and you can, bring the plane and a crew and all the people on it into your awareness, and you can do this, days, hours, anytime, even when you're on the plane, and just visualize that white light expanding, and visualizing that protection, and visualizing, and really have it as a knowing. Try and feel it. Try and feel, I am so protected, right? Now, if you're not a visual person, and this can go with anything, use an item. So this pen is going to represent, it's a pen from my nursing days. Yes, it does say Tylenol on it. This pen's been around a long time now that I think about it. So I'm going to visualize this pen as an airplane, and I'm going to look at it. And then what you can do is, what do I have here? You guys are going to laugh. So I'm going to grab my lip gloss, and I'm going to literally paint the pen in beautiful protection of love and light. Or you can grab a crystal. What do I have here for crystals? There's always a crystal around here. I got a jar there. So then you can grab a crystal. I'm rubbing it in love and light. It's all intention. So if you're not a visual person, get creative. You don't have to be you know an advanced meditator or somebody who can visualize. Get creative. This is going to represent the plane, and you can do it at any time. By the way, Rise and Phoenix, I feel very, very good with that energy, with the flights coming up and everyone on board. I feel very, very good. The other thing that you can do, and I talk about this all the time, is bring your spirit guides with you. Just simply say, I need a guide that can come with us and protect this flight. It can be that simple. It's always, always, always your intention. So there's no really wrong way. And I'm huge on that. You know what else you can do? And I just got this in my mind, is make a paper airplane. I'm not very good at that, but make a paper airplane, and the paper is usually white, and visualize that plane surrounded by love and light. I love that one. I just want to thank them for that idea. I probably wouldn't have thought of that on my own. And you can carry that paper airplane in your purse or in your bag for the flight, and just know how protected that you are. As always, I always bring in gratitude as soon as that plane lands. Right. But again, I feel great with that flight. I really, really do. Hey Lana, last week I spent some time at my grandparents' house and I felt my grandfather's presence very strong. Are there any messages from him? Mariama, first of all, I love that so much. And when we return to a loved one's home, our awareness and feeling them is heightened. And the reason for that is because we're more open to it. Your grandparents are always around, and your grandfather is always around. When we go into their space, we kind of open up more, right? So we have an opening in our heart. I feel very much that your grandfather, number one, he's very proud. I also feel that he's very happy with some of the decisions that you've been making, and they maybe not be huge decisions, but I feel like you've been making some changes or some choices, and he's rooting for you and holding you up. And I just have to let you know that you're not alone. And I don't know if you have moments where you feel very alone or isolated, or you're not sure if spirit's with you. Very, very with you. Very, very supported. There's also a lot behind your grandfather. That connects with like ancestry stuff. So I don't know if you've been kind of thinking about that, or if you've been thinking about like family connections. But he's just pulling in ancestry, and he's pulling that in with a lot of support and a lot of guidance and a lot of help. Hope that resonates there with you. It's good to see all of you coming in. By the way, I see you coming on. Laura, I did not pass my math test yesterday, and this is my second time. I prayed and asked for all the help spiritually, and I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Oh, Laura, I feel that so much with the math tests. Math was something that was really hard for me. And when I went to nursing school, it was like a make or break. It was a make or break for me. It really was. And I actually remember throwing my math textbook back in the days when there was textbooks, showing my age a little bit. I actually threw it off my dorm balcony. Um, I feel like I've got to hold you in support in that, Laura. I do feel like you're going to pass this test. I don't feel like you're doing anything wrong. But I do feel a little bit of panic around writing it. So I feel like your panic. I feel like I've got to love yourself for not passing it. And you're probably like, well, that's really hard. And yes, it is. I feel like I've got to remind you, you're doing your best, you're studying hard, you're working through it. But I also feel, and I don't know if you've been feeling rushed in the test or the exam. I feel like I'm panicking with time. And I feel like with that panic of time, I'm missing parts of the question. Um, I just have to big breath in, love yourself for having to take it a third time, and just breathe. I do feel, Laura, you're gonna do this. I really do. You can and you will. It's very loud. And when we don't succeed in exam writing, it's a big blow, right? It's a big blow. And I always lean into, okay, and again, and I know you guys are probably gonna grind your teeth, because sometimes I do. I'm learning. I will literally grind my teeth at the spirit dimensions. I'm learning something, right? I'm learning something. And I have to just kind of soften that about you with you. And it's not that you're doing anything wrong. It's not failure. It's learning. It is learning. And Laura, I'm cheering for you, and so are they, and so are the people that are here. We're cheering for you back at it. And here we go again, right? Just kind of shift a little bit into that, and acknowledge, I'm doing the best I can with this. I'm doing the best I can with this. Spring. That's what I want to know, Lana. How's the weather in Canada? How are you feeling today? Guys, hit the like button, please. It's a great way to show Lana our love. Bless your heart, Spring. Um, Let me just kind of click that. There we go. Spring, the weather here has been glorious. It suddenly went very, very hot. It's cooling down a little bit today. I think the humidity has been really, really high. But the warm weather, I love it. I love all seasons, and I just have to kind of tap into that. I work really hard at not complaining about the weather because before you know it, there will be snow on the ground. So I enjoy everything that I can while it's here. It's kind of where I look at it. Camilla, Lana, you mentioned previously that my ancestors are with me as guides. I'm wondering if you can tell me anything about them. Okay, so Camilla, when I lean back in there, I feel so our ancestors are they're not part of our spirit council, but they do come to help us and help guide us. And I feel like right now when I lean in there, I'm not 100% sure who they are. I'm leaned into both sides of your family though. I feel like there's like both sides, and I feel like they're talking to me about the learning and the forward momentum and old patterns from family backgrounds that have shifted, and you've been a big part and will continue to be a big part of shifting that. I'm really pulled over to your mother's side, and I need to go back four generations. So great great grandmother, and there's something very significant with I feel I don't feel like I'm local to you. Like I feel like I feel very it's really interesting how I feel. I feel very much from a culture of I mean, something. Listen, I almost feel Spanish, but I know I'm not. I know that's not right. I feel. I just feel that energy, like that Spanish energy around me, and I feel like there's been some kind of shift with how things have been happening in traditions that you are changing. I also feel, Camilla, that and if this is something that's kind of interesting, you do a little bit of digging or a little bit of research. I feel my land and home need to be cleared. Any advice from spirit? I love clearing land and I love clearing space. When it comes to land, so let me do the land first. So when I work with land and a lot of healing, I tap into the trees. The trees are huge healing for me, and huge healing for a forest or for land. When it comes to clearing, I always tell people what resonates with you. I like to tap into the ground or the tree energy myself, sending it love and light. You can do planting of new energy and new growth energy with planting. So I have a very small yard, and over the weekend I planted a little garden. I planted some beans and some peppers and some hot peppers and some basil. And as I was planting, I was putting in energy from the new plants I was putting in to heal the space, to heal the land, and also with a lot of gratitude. So the tree that's in my backyard, I've literally been hugging it and embracing it and thanking it. And I really go with a lot of energy with healing that way, and pulling into that is the way I go. When I clear my home, and again, it's all intention. I don't use sage in my home, basically because I've got asthmatics here, and the smell really triggers them. So I don't use sage, and that's okay. You don't have to. You can walk around with a crystal, a candle, an incense stick. I've even brought in a piece of wood from outside, and I've walked around my house with it, just asking energy that does not serve our home's highest good to please leave. I like to open windows indoors and just kind of allow that energy out. If I'm dealing with paranormal activity, if I'm called in, now I always protect myself when it's not my home, because my home, I know the energy here. Right. If I need to cleanse, it's because of emotions. I've got young people. So they bring home emotions, right? They're growing and learning. And even as adults, we do too, right? You have a bad day, what's the first thing that you do? You have a spiritual dump in your front entrance. You just kind of let go, and that energy can form like dust. I like to just open the windows, light a candle, or like I said, walk around with anything that resonates with you, and ask that energy to please leave. I always fill the space up with healing and with love and light. For me, and you can use a drum. I don't know where my singing bowl is. It's not handy, but you can use a singing bowl. You can drum. You can turn on the music. You can even dance. You can even dance. So, and I did that very recently. And I don't dance well, but that doesn't matter. So you can even dance through your house. I want to fill this home with fun, with that kind of energy. And I like to fill the space back up with with an energy. I don't like to just smudge and or cleanse a space or cleanse a forest or cleanse a yard without inviting a loving energy back into it. I hope that helps you there. All right, you guys, a couple more questions and I have to go. Jules, Lana, I keep having Sun Valley, Idaho come up for me, and learn that my grandpa used to work at a dude ranch there. I'm not sure what a dude ranch is, but does he have a message for me, or is there a different reason? I feel it's like connecting. I feel, Jules, that it's more of a connection. I feel like he's trying to build that bridge between you and the spirit dimensions. And 'cause I don't feel like there's a big different reason. I don't feel like there's a big profound message other than you're connecting. So I don't know if you've been kind of working on that, if you've been working on, I want to feel more of spirit. I want to learn more from spirit. I want to do more with spirit. And when it comes to our loved ones, like, grandparents or parents or siblings, people that we love so dearly, or people that are part of the family that we trust, when we trust spirit, there's less of that Hollywood fear. Oh my gosh, there's a spirit here, right? So I feel like it's a bridge that he's trying to build to show you that the spirit dimensions are here and that they are real and that they are helping. Spirit does that a lot. And so many of the calls that I get, all the spirit, there's paranormal activity here. I come in, I tap in, and I start channeling from deceased loved ones, and people are surprised. Because they thought the spooky aspect was there, right? Um, so that's I feel like he's building a bridge to help you trust spirit. And once you've got that trust solid bridge, it becomes a lot easier to trust your own intuition and trust your own journey and trust your own spirit messages. Um, one more question. Okay, Travis. Been talking about it for months. In 2 weeks, I will head on a 1 year spent working all over the world, South America, Europe, Asia, just as a nomad traveler. Oh, I want to do that. I would love to do that. Does Spirit have anything for me on this? What doesn't that sound delicious just to travel like that? I feel like I feel like with this journey, Travis, I feel like you're gonna be learning a lot about yourself that you didn't know, new parts of yourself. I feel like there's gonna be a lot of healing work for you, both physical, emotional, and soul. I feel like this journey is gonna be a huge, great big teacher and shift for you. And I also feel like, and I don't know if you like to have, I'm gonna use the word control, um, but I feel like this is gonna be the ultimate lesson for you on learning how to let go of that. I'm really kind of that allowing energy, that really going with the flow energy. And I do feel you're gonna have moments where you struggle with that because I can I can see you pushing hard through it. But not I don't feel like it's in a bad way, Travis. I just feel like it's like this is interesting kind of energy I'm learning. I'm learning how to do that, right? I'm learning when you think about that, we are so used to being in control of things. And when we kind of throw all that in the wind and kind of jump into something brand new, that's when it kind of echoes how loud we are attached to certain things. And I think you're going to realize some big attachments that it's time to let go of. And that's going to be things like control, things like ego. It's going to be a big spiritual trip for you. And I've got to remind you to allow it, right? Because we do have choice and free will. We have to allow that healing. We have to allow that take a look, and we have to allow that. And it's really funny as I'm talking, there's 11 11. So we have 11 thumbs up and 11 people watching. I love that so much. That must be my sign that I've got to wrap up. I know there's a lot of questions that I didn't get on to today. I'm doing my really best. Aaron, my tree is gone, but I've been working on healing my little front garden. I love that so much. It's beautiful. That's beautiful. Um, and remember, even the little gardens help. Even a little basket helps with energy, right? New growth, right? Anything that can help you tap into new growth or into that healing energy. And even if it, walking into a forest or a trail and just notice the new weeds that are growing, right? Just even along a sidewalk. I mean, I like to notice when the weeds grow up and through a crack of a sidewalk. For me, and I always stop and acknowledge it. I to me, it's so exciting because it represents to me that even when the growing environment isn't perfect, something grew anyway, right? So when you think about yourself. Even though things may not be perfect in your household, things may not be perfect in your life, things may not be going the way you want them to go. But your perception of things, is maybe it's really hard. Whatever's going on, if a weed can grow in concrete, I can grow where I'm standing. I do that all the time, and it reminds me. I stand there or I bend down and I look at it. The other thing that fascinates me and that I kind of tap into the energy of is an anthill. I love anthills. I'm going to tell you why. I When you think about the community that built that structure and how hard they work together, I love it. I will sit and watch an anthill and I will tap into that energy. I will tap into how beautiful it is to grow something as a community. Right? And when you think about, this platform or anything that you've grown with family or with groups, when you think about that energy, I love little ants because of their sense of community. Everybody carries the dirt. Everybody helps. I know it sounds really simple, but those little things that you tap into in life fill you up. It's magic, right? To watch that for a moment. Yeah, and I truly don't care if people think I'm nuts. So yeah, I know. I've even watered a weed that was growing in a sidewalk to help it out rather than pull it. I know. I know. Okay, let's get an angel number. All right. 642. Trust that the angels are taking care of this situation because they are. What do we need to know? Let's all set our intentions here. What do we need to know? Muskrat. Clean out your home. Oh, I think this is for me. Clean out your home and get rid of the clutter starting with one room at a time. Maybe not. This is a time to go inside yourself through meditation and contemplation and a restorative and regenerative measure. Keep a dream journal for the next couple of days, spending a few minutes each morning when you wake up, recording your dreams and reflecting on their meanings. Don't be surprised or alarmed if you have some out of body experiences in the next couple of days. Ooh, that sounds fun. Rely much more on what you hear and what you smell rather than what you see in your communications, as doing so will help you pick up more subtle meanings to contradictory messages. I love that so much. I love that. I don't just, I love that so much. Um, I am not here Friday. Unfortunately, I'm not here Friday. So take care of yourselves, take care of each other. Enjoy, slow down and breathe. Right? And it's about surrender and going with the flow. So as things come up for you, just kind of pause and ask yourself, am I going with the flow? And how much time and energy am I going to put into something if I can't control it? As always, I'm wishing you all love, light, blessings, and have a spirit guided couple days. I'll see you Monday morning. Much love.